This past weekend. Look, man, sometimes if we want to grow, we got to start small. Let's start with a little tiny sand who. Get that tiny. That's Tiny Sandhu. He's sending another beautiful riff right there. And that's that dirty riff-raffian, man. That frickin' riffopotamus, Mr. Tiny Sandhu himself. And who is he? Who is he? We don't know. The jury's still out. You know, he's an email that hit my inbox, and ever since then, the correspondence has been nothing but sheer fire. Just sheer frickin' flames. And Tiny Sandhu, when he hits that inbox, I know. I mean, dude, it's just like a damn morphine drip. And I want more and more and more. And I'm fiending and fiending and fiending. And I'm more fiending for that Tiny Sandhu. And that was him right there. Always on the run. Whoever he is. Is he a mother? Is he a father? Is he a little wizard? What is he? Is he made out of paper mache? Is he a dragon? Does he own a dragon? What does he own? A cat? A pet? A circus mouse? Oh, this is a little circus mouse. Tiny Sandhu could be doing many things out there, but he's choosing to send in music from the great beyond. Whatever, he lives in a sand dune. Where's he from? India? Indiana? Where is he from? What does he drink? Coffee? Water? Syrup? What's he just hiding? What does he do? Just hide Starburst under his tongue all day? And just get that slow melt into his jowls? That slow secretion of that sugar water? Just catching that fire flavor right up under his tongue? What does he do? We don't know. He is Tiny Sandhu. Let me catch another dab off that riff. Go, Tiny. Beating that thing like it owes him something. That's Tiny Sandhu. Welcome to This Past Weekend. It is Monday, November 20th, and I am Theo Vaughn coming to you from Huntsville, Alabama. If you're not familiar with Huntsville, it's a place. It's a place down here in northern Alabama, and it's got a unique vibe to it, man. You know, it has the largest collection of pre-Civil War homes. I don't know if you know that or not. Mansions, pre-Civil War mansions. The most of them are here in Huntsville. It was once the watercress capital of the world. So if you're into exotic vegetables that don't really do nothing, then this might be a place you want to stop into. But I've had a good time here this weekend. You know, I had a good time. I didn't do that much, though. You know, I really didn't take advantage of my time as much as I could have. So I'm feeling a little bit less than cavalier about that. You know, I could have been out high horsing, you know, and living out there and doing things locally. You know, buying artwork or, you know, maybe even donating blood or doing something fancy, you know, or trying to be part of the bright arts, you know. But I didn't do too much, man. I got caught into a vein of Oh, can you hear that train going by? You hear that? Can y'all hear that train? Can you hear it? Maybe you can't hear it. But they got a train going by, man. I'm right here by the train tracks. There's a lot of trains go through here. But I didn't do too much, man. You know, I took it easy, and I didn't really take care of myself that great. I didn't do no drugs. I didn't do no alcohol. But I did get caught up, you know, just not doing anything good for myself, not doing anything super positive. I did do two yogas by Adrian. Now, if you go on YouTube and you want to do some yoga and you don't have money to get to the class or you can't afford a mat, they have a teacher on there, Yoga by Adrian. And it's a woman. I think she's single. and she has a dog named Benji, and they do yoga. They teach you all types of yoga, and it's free right there on the YouTube. But I had a nice time. Overall, had a nice time, man. And we got a special episode for you today. We're going to get into the dark arts. We've been talking about it. We've been talking about emptying our bread baskets, of this yeast infection that is the darkness within us. And we're going to drop that off outside of the shop, so we can mosey around through the universe with our hearts open. You hear that train? Boy, that's what I'm talking about. This train country. I don't know if you ever spent time around a train, but damn, boy. I mean, if you haven't been on a train, you haven't seen much, dude. I used to take the Greyhound from New Orleans up to Champaign, Illinois, when I was 11 and 12 and 13 years old. And my brother and I would ride up on that train with the Masons. And you'd always have a lot of Masons and a lot of black men and a lot of preachers on there and preachers' families. And everybody riding on there and spending time. And they had one lady in one of the little train car, the little, you could get an overnight thing, and she's in there selling her body, selling a little bit of sex, a little train sex. And if you was in all of that, then you could get in all that. But that was something. Speaking of trains, I went and saw Midnight on the Orient Express, or whatever it is, Murder on the Orient Express. Save your money, all right? Boring. I'd rather take an Amtrak. I'd rather spend $30 on an Amtrak. Probably better crime, better mysteries. If you want to get involved in a little bit of the dark arts, you take an Amtrak. Because, man, it is dim. It is dim living in some of those train cars and some of that environment. But good to be here. Thank you guys for joining me. I was in Huntsville, Alabama. These people love football. Dude, I've never seen anything like it. Okay? I know I grew up at, I went to LSU for a while. I went to University of Arizona. I saw some of these, different football schools, but I never saw anything like this. Friday night, so I was here Thursday through Sunday, and it's Sunday night right now, and it's about midnight, and I'm dropping this so I can catch that flight in the morning and head back to Los Angeles so I can start celebrating these holidays, because it's turkey time. If you do turkey or if you don't do turkey, whatever. If you vegan, if you not vegan, you regular, you unleaded, you diabetic, you dying, whatever. Short neck, long neck, turkey time. If you like giblets, you like something. You like pumpkin pie, coconut cream, whatever you want, we got your thing. We got all that because it's coming in hot. You're going to see your family. We got a lot of seasonal activity starting up, flaring up. But I was here this weekend. And everybody came out for the football, man. People came out. And they came out because on Friday they had this guy named Funny Mane. Jermaine Funny Mane Johnson, and he makes YouTube videos about Alabama football, right? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, people will come. They're excited to see him perform. He sold the place out, wall to wall, 2 shows. People just wanted to come. He would do some comedy. He's decent comedian, and not belittling him. I don't think he would say he's great. But then he would answer questions about U of A football, and man, people loved it, and it was interesting because he's a black man, Jermaine Funny Mane Johnson, and it was an all-white audience for the most part. I would say 98% Caucasian, and it was neat, man. It was cool, It just showed me that there are a lot of things that bring different races together in the South, People always want to give the South a bad name or, give it this racial, this darkness to it. But I tell you this, man, this was the bright arts going on because this man sold 700 tickets, to see for people to come out and listen to him talk about football. So, it was just great to see, man. It was great to be a part of. And I had to feature. I didn't have to, but they asked me if I wanted to feature. That meant open up for him. So he was headlining Friday night. And man, it was it was humility, man. It put me back in, because you want to be the headliner. You want to be the main show. You want to be that big barker. You don't want to be that middle whistle. You want to be that big barker. If you biting, you don't want to be them front teeth. You want to be them molars. And he was the molars, and I was the front teeth. And so it was a testament to humility. At first, I didn't like it. It didn't feel well on me. It made me feel a little bit less than. It made me feel unsuccessful. But after I swallowed those thoughts, I realized that, look, I got a chance to go out here and make, 500, 600 new fans that have not seen me perform maybe before. And I went out and did it, man. I just had to swallow my ego. And that was good, man. I think I needed that. I think we always, any chance we get to feel some humility, especially in this me universe, I think it's always pretty solid. So that was good, man. We had a good time out there doing those shows. And the South is just different, man. It's just, I forget what it's like even in some of these environments. I mean, this is Bible Belt right around here. This is the damn buckle, This is the dang buckle, And I love, and I love that environment. I grew up in some church environment, and, I love seeing people, have that as part of their lives. I think it's it's great to have the infusion of a higher power in your life. I don't think you can go wrong with it. So it's nice to be around some of that, But man, physical fitness probably second or third on the pendulum here. I was going for a jog. This fella pulls up in his truck, asked me if something's wrong. I'm just jogging. I was like, huh? He's like, what you running from? Like, running from? Diabetes, dude. I'm just out here jogging, I'm trying to get my fitness up. I'm trying to keep my sugar down and my lipids low. And I'm trying to get my fitness up. But that was some good stuff. So, man, some good activity. And we got a bunch of calls from you guys for the dark arts. And so I'm going to slowly, meander into those. But I do want to thank our charter sponsor. That's Gray Block Pizza. And that's GREYBLOCK pizza.com in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Just pull over there off Pico Boulevard, headed to the beach. Stop in, open your mouth, and get that hitter. Get that hitter. Gray Block Pizza, man, good food for your face. And I'm feeling okay, man. I wish I would have done a little bit more with my week, Sometimes when I get out here on the road, I get down in the dizzies. I get down in the dumps. You're out here, you're by yourself, I guess I'm just grateful that I didn't, do anything stupid because I was bored, because sometimes out of boredom you can. But that wasn't me this weekend, so I can show some gratitude for that. I was going to go to the Rocket Center. They have the Space and Rocket Center here. And I love astronaut ice cream. I go to space just for the fucking ice cream. I go to damn orbit just for the desserts. I love astronaut ice cream. If you never had it, it's this dried out ice cream. It comes in these pouches, different flavors. And if you're thinking of something to get daddy for Christmas, well, that's what you can get daddy. And I love Christmas and I love the holidays. And it's something you don't know about me. When I was a child, they had Christmas stockings, And you know what it is. They put Santa brings them, hangs them from something in your homestead. And that's where you get the candy, get the treats, get the small gifts. And I love those so much that for probably about 3 months after that, I wore Christmas stockings when I was probably in about maybe third grade. I got 2 of them off the mantle or whatever, and I wore them in my shoes, dude, and I wore them as socks. I wore them as socks, dude. I remember Little League basketball, the only dude out there on the court with two Christmas stockings in his BK high tops, in his British Knights, in his champion shoes, So I got high tops, bro, with them red and white with them red and white overhangs, bro. And that's Christmas stockings. So that I'm into the holidays when I'm out there on that court wearing Christmas stockings, going toe to toe, literally, with the competition. So that was something that I was into as a child, and I'm excited, man. It's a good week, man, and I want us to purge some of the negativity and some of the things, some of the dark arts, because we all have them, and I'm going to get into some of those calls. But first, I wanted to do a follow-up. Last week we talked about, do black men get nervous? Because trust me, maybe in some places they don't. I've seen some tender black gentlemen out on the West Coast, and these boys, look like they've never been through a thing in their life. But the black gentleman that I grew up around, it was a different variety, And just like in the South, there's one place, it's just like different places, different types of people. And it could have just been in my neighborhood and in my town. But they had some real warriors where I was from, and I did not see a lot of nerves in a lot of those gentlemen. But we did get Praise God. A couple of gentlemen callers that called in that hit the hotline. And let's crack into those calls right now. But thanks. I got this call from somebody who said, thanks for coming to Huntsville. I want to hear that.
What's up, Theo? This is Lee from Athens, Alabama. Just want to tell you good luck on your shows this weekend. I can't make it out. Tonight's Thursday. Maybe Saturday night, me and my wife can come out. We got to find a babysitter for the kids. But welcome to Huntsville, man. Love you. Peace.
Yeah, and I just thought that was nice, and you get a taste of what the vibe is like down here by hearing that man's voice. That's Lee right there. And, it was just nice to be around. People here really friendly. That guy called before I was even, he called Thursday or whatever that was. I don't even know when this was. Thursday. And said, welcome to town. He couldn't make it out, but he was thinking about hopefully being able to come out the rest of the weekend. And I don't know if I met him or not. I can't remember if I did, maybe on Saturday night. But still, it's just that kind of place where people, they know you're coming, they're going to call and let you know in advance that they're happy that you're coming. They're going to try to get to see you. And you got to hear an accent locally. That's a Huntsville accent. Huntsville made, Huntsville bred, Huntsville. All right, man, let's get into some of these. We had some of my brothers that called in. And when I say brother, I mean everybody's my brother, but this is an African-American gentleman who called in, and he hit the hotline in response to black men getting nerves, anxiety, etc. Let's get that hitter. Here we go.
Hey, what's up, Theo? This your boy Steve Mack, at 937 Dayton, Ohio.
Steve Mack over there in Cincinnati, and Steve Mack also is a comedian as well. And Steve Mack, thank you for calling, dude. I appreciate it. We've spent some fun time together in the past. I made love one time to a friend of yours who, I think was we stayed up all night doing marionetting or whatever. Some girl that was on an adult flag team. She was an adult flag team, a very rare breed, and I met her, and I believe that we did make love. Onward, Steve. Thank you for calling.
Hey, man, you said you didn't have any black callers, and I wanted to call in and give you a little 2 cents.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I'm black, but I'm more like cul-de-sac black. You know what I'm saying? I like white women.
Cul-de-sac black, that was the term that he used. No, I feel you, dude. They got a lot of cul-de-sac black guys out in that I see more on the West Coast these days. Onward.
Actually, I'm married to one. I wanted to get into this. You said black people being nervous and confident, and I feel like those are two completely different things. So, my wife, she's from a small white town. I'm nervous when I go there, but I'm confident enough, to fit in and to be okay. Don't get me wrong, I'm nervous as fuck when I go, just because I double the black population, but I'm confident enough to be able to fit in, and do that. Yeah, man, that's all I really had. I appreciate you, brother.
No worries, Steve. I thought I heard a cow in the background at some point there. I don't know if that's true or not, from Cincinnati. Thank you for calling, Steve. So, yeah, you felt that nerves, man. So you do feel that nerves, but have the confidence enough to I guess, keep it low, to overcome it, to keep it low, And maybe that's maybe that's the art. Maybe that's an art that may lie within. Because some cultures, some ethnicities are better at things than others. Are different, behave differently under certain circumstances. That's one thing that I don't like sometimes about trying to, make everybody be equals. I want everybody to be equal, but I do not want everybody to be the same. Because it's not fun. It's not. I think differences is what makes us great, man. If everybody the same as fuck, everybody could be committing suicide, man, popping off. Collecting bullets in their head with their brain. Maybe one, maybe two, and they're going to be done. Because you collect 2 bullets in your head that's going to be it. Not many people can collect 3 bullets in their head. I wonder what the most time someone has tried to shoot themselves in the head and not been successful with it. God, I would love to interview that man. Let's hear a little bit more. We got another call in here from a black gentleman. And I appreciate it. I mean, this made me feel good just to know that we have a variety of listeners. Let's hear more.
How you doing, Theo Ron? Thanks for having me on.
Ooh, this guy sounds even a little bit blacker. So you bet. We're happy to have you on, man. Thank you.
You're funny, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I'm trying.
Let me just start by saying that black, white, Mexican, purple, blue, we're all the same. We all have the same issues. We all have the same problems.
Agreed, man. I agree, and I think they can probably be more enhanced at certain people's lives. But I agree. I think that there's a lot of commonality. Onward.
But I would be a liar and said if I never got nervous for anything. But that's never stopped me from doing the things that I wanted to do or accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. The nerves were there, but we come too far as a people for those nerves to hold us back. I think that we should always push forward in times of despair, because we would get nowhere if we did. We let that hold us back. So I am here to tell you that yes, black people do get nervous. And if they told you that they didn't, then they're a liar. Thank you, Bown, for having me on.
Thank you. I appreciate the call. There you heard it. I mean, that guy, definitely black. You know, you could hear it. And I hate some people be like, well, I don't know. Maybe that guy's not black, you know? I mean, he could be any color with the... Look, let's be real about some stuff. Okay? 88% chance that man is black. Okay? Some of them hate just some of these things where people are just like, well, I don't know. Huh. You know? And I appreciate that information, man. But yeah, that's interesting to hear. You come too far to let something as small as that hold you back. It's captivating, man. It's captivating to think about that, you know, and to think about what people in different cultures have gone through, and how over time, I bet as a culture and as a race, that you learn to keep things like that more subdued, you know, or to rise above them easier. Because sometimes when you're white, nerves just, I mean, you know, if you've had life easy, maybe nerves could be the most rattling thing. You know, I mean, I know we have a lot of mental health issues here in America, and a lot of that is basically a first world problem. You know, it's like we're lucky enough to have mental health issues because we ain't doing shit, you know. So many people got so much, they got everything, we just sitting around stressing, you know, worried because we're not staying active. But I appreciate that other call, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Everybody who hit in, we had that Thursday episode that talked more about that. Do black men get nervous? And we delved into that a little bit, and it's a good discussion, you know, because you heard it there. Black men do feel nerves, but I'll be danged if it doesn't seem like they mask them a lot better than other ethnicities, other cultures, and that may be an art that they have, you know. And I would even go on to say that women seem less nervous a lot of times. They might show fear easier than men, but I might think that women seem less nervous sometimes than men. It'd be interesting to see a nerve chart, you know, get that nerve chart out, that NC, and see how that beautiful thing breaks down. Okay, guys, this is it. We got these dark arts. Tiny, let me hit another little riff from Tiny. Tiny, dude, where are you, dude? Bro, how bizarre is it that it's some dude, Tiny Sand Who, just hits me up and has been dropping these riffs in my inbox. And dude, you should read his emails. Like, it doesn't even, he barely, I don't think English is his first language, so truly beautiful. That's the art. That's the art of the internet. We got a lot of dark arts that came in, speaking of arts, and I want to get into them. And before we go into them, man, I've shared some, you know, we're coming up on a year of this podcast. December 19th will be a year, I believe. And I just want to say that I'm thankful coming up on Thanksgiving and coming to the holidays. I'm so thankful. You know, one of my friends, Bill Morris, the other day, who's a member of the Gunt Squad on that Patreon, he said, you know, he said, you didn't know when you started this thing if you would even still be doing it. You know, you didn't know what you were doing. You were nervous. And I still feel those things. You know, I still feel nervous, but I feel more excited now. You know, I have dudes come up to me at the shows even this weekend in Huntsville, man. It's a couple of young fellas that showed up and that, we're just saying, hey, man, the podcast is, it means something to me. We out there doing some things and being naughty, and being naughty daughters, even though we got a penis ass, you feel me? So I'm just grateful, man. I'm feeling a lot of gratitude right now. And I wasn't feeling that before I even started the episode tonight. So thank you guys for that, man. Y'all are doing that for me this evening. Okay, cool, man. Let's get in. Now, look, I'm going to tell you this. This is the dark arts we're opening up. Okay? This is Pandora's little panty box we're about to jump in. So some of this stuff, man, y'all might not be prepared for it. Some of this stuff, this ain't no sipping tea, This ain't no Keurig coffee. I'll tell you what my problem is with Keurig coffee is that it's nasty. It's not even coffee, okay? First of all, as good and well, Mr. Keurig, that it's hot brown water. Dude, I'll drink 9 Keurigs and take a nap, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'll give Keurig to a baby because it ain't gonna do nothing. You want some real coffee, go find somebody granddaddy. When they had that cup of that strong sipper. When he woke up and took that hitter. That's the stuff. That drip droppity drop. You had to swallow twice to get a dram of it down your throat. That was coffee. That thick, syrupy yang, boy. That shit would that shit would straighten your granddaddy's spine. Scoliosis, no leosis. Two pots of grandma's coffee is what got the railroads built. And Keurig out here selling this cuppity cup. Oh, the pods, and you pop them and ooh, French eat a dick. Keurig, you're making bullshit. And that's what's wrong with a lot of men in this country. Y'all drinking that Keurig pod. Okay? Get out there. Get the grounds. Do the Pam. Okay? Get out there. Get that little baby sheet. Throw the grounds on it. Put it in the thing. Turn it. Shut it. Bam. Water time. Get that hitter. Put it in a cup. And get your life done. Stay off the Keurig. That shit's bullshit. Keurig is what's turning all these men into ballerinas. These men out there can't even walk, ain't even wearing boots anymore. They're out there tippy-toeing, shopping for carpet. Drink regular coffee and be a man. That's what I'm saying, dude. So I don't mean to get violent there or get fired up. But Keurig should be held accountable. There should be a class action suit against Keurig for turning all these men into straight whites. There should be a class action suit against Keurig for weakening these men. Because that ain't coffee you're selling. That is candy. That's jumpity water. That's all that is. That's just jumpity water. And it ain't helping. But with that said, man, I'm going to hit a regular ass coffee right here. Off the grounds, that Folgers. You know what I'm saying? Folgers, man. Folgers will keep your hair brown. Not this Keurig shit. Dude, I had 2 cups of Keurig, woke up wearing a thong. What's going on? Something isn't right. Drink regular coffee. Get the grounds. Get that little baby. Get the grounds. Get that little upside down baby hat. You feel me? Put the grounds in the hat. Put it in the thing. Water. Top closed. Button. Wait. Hot pot. Put it in a cup. Get that hitter. Sorry, man, but that's how I feel. All right, man, we're going to get into these dark arts, and some of them are dark, and some of them are not. You're about to find out. All right, thank you guys so much for these calls. I love you. Let's go. Here we go. Let's purge, man. Let's get it out of our system. Let's listen together. Let's be together. Again, if you need to hit the hotline, the number is 985-664-9503. If you want to grab a shirt, there are tour shirts from all the cities from this year. You can grab them at theovon.com/store. As always, you can get my album, 30-Pound Bag of Hamster Bones, or Musket Fire, The Early Years of Satire. Both of those are available on iTunes. Let's get into these dark arts. Here we go.
What's up, Theo? This is Al. What's up?
Hey, Theo, this is Joe from Tennessee. I was just going to try to bring up a topic that I haven't heard you talk about yet.
Okay, this is Joe from Tennessee. Thank you for calling, Joe. Onward.
Yeah, something in the dark arts, a little bit of the incestual situation. Back when I was 21 years old, my aunt wanted to suck on my dick, so I got drunk and I let her, and then I ended up fucking her. And I don't want to get into the huge story, the whole story, I should say, but let me know if you want to hear it, and I can go on with that. But hey, I just want to know if that you think that was kind of weird, but it wasn't really my blood aunt.
Wow. Man, I told you it was going to get dark, dude. And people got the darkness. Joe, thank you for calling from Tennessee. Man, I got to hear this again, dude. I'm sorry, Joe. And I know some of y'all aren't even going to be able to hear it again, especially if you're in the car with your wife, or if you're a woman or a female, you might have a tougher time. Or if you're a gentle male, you know, if you're a tender male who, you know, or if you're a premature baby, you know. Because a lot of people that's premature babies, they can't handle things. You know, some premature babies, they might live to be 80 years old, but they'll never make 9 months, you know. There'll always be a little gelatinous in the skeletonous, if you know what I'm saying, man. You know, they'll always have kind of a real soft neck. But let's hear that again, Joey Joe. Here we go.
Something in the dark arts, a little bit of the incestual situation. Back when I was 21 years old, my aunt wanted to suck on my dick. So I got drunk and I let her, and then I ended up fucking her. And
Damn.
I don't want to get into the huge story, the whole story, I should say, but
I think that is the whole story, Joey. I think that is. Well, look, Joe, I want you to know this is a safe place to share that kind of stuff, and I appreciate you calling, man. Let's hear the end of your call so I know if there's anything else. Onward.
really my blood aunt, it was my uncle's wife. She was 35, I was 21, she was hot as fuck. So, let me know what you think. Have a good one. See you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look, man, everybody been through some things, you know. Now, you had a fine aunt. I mean, and that's a gift, really, from the heavens above, from Zeus and Hera and Athena and Jesus Christ and Allah and everybody. That's up in the clouds. That's a gift, having a fine aunt. Because a lot of us, we sit around the family get-togethers and everybody's busted. And that's okay. You know, you might have somebody you might be thinking about a little bit softly on the side, but nothing that's really going to flare you up. It wasn't your blood aunt, so that's... When you said that let us all off the hook as listeners, Joey. That let us all off the hook. I'll say this, man. Here's how I can relate to this. For one, when I was young, I think I was probably, 10, and I had a sister that was maybe 6. And I remember times where I would hug her extra, like as if she was like a little girlfriend of mine or something. And I know that sounds weird, and I never did anything weird, but I do remember sometimes thinking she was like a baby or something of mine, and I remember thinking for a long time that there was something wrong with me about that. But I've talked to her about it. She doesn't have any recollections of it, and then so that made me feel okay. I guess my biggest concern was if she felt something strange about that. So sometimes I think we all have things. I mean, I caught my nephews one time. I think they were probably 10 or 9 or 11, and they was in the bed laying in their nudity, full nudity, just rubbing, touching each other's bodies with their own hands, So I think some things happen when people are younger. I remember I used to, the first time I stayed over at my best friend's house, Mr. Scott. Well, his name was Scott, and I call him Mr. Scott now just to have a fun name. But his name was just Scott. We were both children, and we were laying in a queen-size bed at his father's house and going to sleep. This was in Mississippi, and his father comes back in the room after he shut off the light, and he said, "Now you boys can sleep pole to pole or hole to hole, but no sleeping pole to hole." And hell, dude, it took us fucking 7 minutes to even figure out what the hell the deal was. We're turning over different ways and like pole to what and hole to what. And finally, one of us just slept on the floor because we got tired of doing the math. So that was kind of a wild time. But anyway, Joe, we've all been through some things, man. It sounded like you got that heat. You copped that hitter from your own aunt. And what's the part that could be alarming to me, and this might be a question to you, is was your aunt always into you? Because if she was into you as a child, you know, if she's looking at you at 9 being like, damn, who's that fucking hottie over there by the mashed potatoes, then that's a little bit alarming on her side. You know, she might have that. She might be the real dark artist here. But damn, at 21, letting your uncle's wife drop that freaking face on your place. Woo. You know, that's unbelievable, dude. And I appreciate you calling and sharing it with us. You sound okay about it. You know, you sound like you're driving a vehicle, so you must have a license. You know, you didn't say that you had a big falling out. But then you escalated it to that next level and took it on to 6. So, damn, John, I don't even know what to say, Joe. If you want to call back in and give a little more to that story, man, I don't know if we'd like to hear it or not. I think we would, though. You know, this is a safe place. You can share the dark arts, man, and that's definitely one of the dimmer arts that I've heard. But I appreciate you sharing it, man. I mean, things happen, man. All right, let's take another call. Here we go.
What's up, Theo? This is Alex Vaughn from Lafayette, Louisiana, spelled differently.
Alex Vaughn, thank you for calling from Lafayette, Louisiana.
You brought up what kind of dark arts we face, and I have to say the biggest dark arts we face in our everyday lives is the political dark arts. Everyone wants to classify themselves as on the left or the right, when in reality, all that is a bunch of bullshit.
Okay, I appreciate you calling, Alex. It sounds like you wrote this down before you called, but that's okay, man. That's okay. I appreciate it. Onward.
I think we need to go back to loving each other as Americans and get through problems we face together with logical thinking. What are your thoughts on the political spectrum turning into a back and forth lynching that isn't helping anybody?
I think most of the back and forth lynching on politics is done on social media, and it's done, that's where I think it's done. I think it's done on social media. I think in real life, the truth is things are pretty much going okay. You know, think about it. Things are going okay. Nothing's any different now when Trump's in office and when Obama was in office. What my everyday life is like, it's the same. It's the same. You know? Do I think that, I think that change is always good and that you got to go through tough times to get to better times. I don't think politics has ever served any of, most of America. You know, I think we have the same problems that we had 40 years ago in this country, 50 years ago in this country. You know, and I think that if we can find a way, I kind of hope most of the system comes crashing down somehow, and we find a way, we look into ourselves. Because, you know, if you're thinking that these politics are going to save your life or save your soul, man, they're not going to do anything for you. That's just my thought. You might think differently, you know, but yeah, people are at odds about this kind of stuff, you know, and I find most of the at oddsness are regional, you know, and a lot of that's based on perspective. But I think a lot of people are getting duped, you know. I think you work hard, you get your life done, you move forward. I think that's all that we can control. And I think that the good thing is about this political time is that the dark arts that are around us is that it shows us that the light that we have is a light you better turn on for yourself. Because if you're sitting around thinking that, you know, $400 or $700 a month, you know, from the government or $4,000 a year extra is going to change your universe, man, you could be stuck in that same world forever. You know, it's about finding the happiness on ourselves, you know, and it's about working hard and moving forward. And so I think a lot of us are realizing that these politics, it don't matter. You could put a fucking monkey in there, a juggling monkey. And there'd still be the 1% still be running the world, and the rest of us will still just be doing our best. So fuck them. You know what we do? We work hard and we take care of ourselves, and we take care of our own. And you try to come and mess with our own, and that's when it gets live, baby. But I appreciate you calling in about it. Let's hear about a little more dark artesianus. There's some good ones, guys. There's some good ones. Here we go.
What's up, Theo? This is Rico from New Hampshire.
Rico from that New Hampshire, boy. Hamp City, dude. Hamp game strong. And that reminds me, this past weekend was the last date of my Hampin' Ain't Easy tour. We hamped out, you know. I got one more date in Calgary, December 1st at Cowboys. But that's not part of the tour. That's just a regular comedy show. But I thank everybody who came out and supported this year, and or who got one of the shirts online or did anything to support. And I want to thank my boy Sherb, who does the audio every night of this podcast. I keep forgetting to thank him. I'm so grateful to you, brother. This gentleman allows me at 1 a.m. or whenever to send me send him an audio file, and he helps out and gets it onto the web for us. So I'm so grateful to him and Ken Highland, who's been doing a lot of the editing. Thank you guys very much. Onward.
Calling about the dark arts. What gets me is food. Food gets me more than anything else, more than the devil's lettuce. But it's just food, man, and it was a lot due to my mom. My mom was a bigger lady and loved to eat, and in turn I love to eat. She was a big baker and loved to bake. And it just seemed like there was always something sweet, something sugary, something cakey, something, I don't know, to snack at in my house. And that's what I still, not that I deal with it, because there's way worse things to deal with in the world, and I know it's all, there are levels, but I do deal with wanting to eat food every day, and I have lost weight, and I am feeling better than I used to, but it's still, I feel, a daily struggle.
Man, well, I appreciate you calling in about this, man. You know, I haven't had that, that same struggle. I appreciate you, shining a little bit of light on the fact that a dark art can come out of anywhere. You know, a dark art can be that you collect snakes, that you do in food, you do in extra food, that you hide in snacks in your shoes or snacks under your, you fucking putting Kool-Aid powder in your water bed and sticking a straw in it sometimes when nobody's looking. Or being wild like that, or doing whatever, or hiding sugar cubes in your damn, putting them where your eyeballs, that skin in front of your eye, whatever that is, pulling that open and stuffing sugar down in there by your eyeball. It could be anything. You collecting lasers or, pornography, watching too much pornography, or, masturbating out into the street or whatever, masturbating in your friend's car. Or sleeping in your friend's trunk at night and jerking off in there and leaving your underpants in there. It could be anything. It could be looking at naughty things on the internet you shouldn't be looking at. It could be getting some oral sex from your aunt and then taking it all the way to town, She gonna flirt, we gonna skirt, taking it there. But it's interesting to know that it can be food, man. And that it came from an influence that you had in your own house with your mother. Who was more of a thicker lady, and I hope that's not an offensive term to use with you, and you had snacks. Man, I'll tell you this, dude. My mother was so thin growing up. She's a thin lady. And we never had a lot of food around the house. And, dude, I remember going over to friends' houses, and if they had a cinnamon roll or something like that on the counter, man, it just made me think that they were so lucky. There's something about a baked good that made... To me, it was just, and it could have been advertising that got me believing all this stuff, but it made me feel like, there was love in the house or something. If there's half a pie there sitting there wrapped up and everybody hadn't eaten all of it, then it means that people are comfortable enough. People are fed enough, So I was envious when I would see that at friends' houses, when I would see a half a pie. Just out on the counter. It would be there all night. It would be there in the morning. If I stayed overnight, I'd be like, damn, nobody ate that pie all night. Everybody here must be satiated. And everybody here must be comfortable. Because we never had that, man. You didn't see anything left out on the counter. Nothing. And I always was so envious when I would see that at other people's houses. That to me, it was a symbol of comfort in their home. But I appreciate you sharing with us that wasn't really for you. And I'm intrigued about how this, how this could relate with you and your mother. Let me hear a little bit more.
And it is the dark arts that work on my brain. And I know a lot of other people. So thank you for this podcast. Thank you for...
Let me hear
Not that I deal with it, because there's way worse things to deal with in the world. And I know it's all, there are levels, but I do deal with wanting to eat food every day, and I have lost weight, and I am feeling better than I used to, but it's still, I feel, a daily struggle, and it is the dark arts that work on my brain, and I know a lot of other people. So thank you for this podcast. Thank you for...
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for that call. You know, I haven't had somebody introduce that as the dark art. I know what we were just talking about this. I just wanted to hear again exactly what you said, you know. And I guess, yeah, you know, it's interesting that being around and, you know, your mother had the affliction and then you caught it. You know, it's interesting how we use different things to satiate ourselves. You know, it could be food, could be masturbation. You know, it could be wearing too many scarves. You know I got a friend that, you know, this girl, she started wearing glitter and doing the tanning beds, you know. And now, dude, every time I see that bitch, that chick, she looks like a damn fucking, I mean, she looks like a damn recyclable good. She looks like she's made out of aluminum. She has so much glitter on her. It's crazy, dude. She looks like one of those people that works in the French Quarter in New Orleans, you know, where they're on the boardwalk in Venice in California. You know, she got so much glitter on her, it looked like, you know, a can collector might turn her in for a couple bucks. She just looks glittered up too much. You know, like she might get, you know, like she's going to try to get high. Like the Silver Surfer is going to try to fuck her. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not good. But yeah, we all have our afflictions, man. I appreciate you showing us that can be a dark art, and wish you the best, man. You know, I think it's just like anything. It's like when I get down at night, you know, and I feel that vulture inside of me just lands his talons on my fucking, on my clavicles, you know, and it just says, you know, that it wants to do something wrong. And that can be anything, man. That can be, you know, looking at pornography or thinking about my aunt, you know, or thinking about getting a hearty snack, you know. But man, I'd have been so envious of being at your house and having those snacks around. But I'm sorry that afflicted you that way, and thank you for sharing that with us, man. I'm sure other people go through that as well. So thank you for opening up that box. All right, let's hear some more. Here we go.
Hey, dude. Calling in. I'm kind of recent fan of yours.
Thank you for the fanship. Onward, brother.
I recently had a sexual encounter in the greater Los Angeles area.
Oh, you got a little bit of knock over in the GLA, huh? All right, let's hear it.
It was a cute girl. We ended up getting an Airbnb somewhere.
Dude, every dude always says it's a cute girl. You know what I'm saying? Because no dude wants to be like, you know, I was hooking up with this, you know, this freaking gutter muppet. You know, I was hooking up with this freaking, you know, this secondhand citizen. But maybe not. Actually, some people say they, you know, hooked up with, because the people only go to like a 6. You're like a 6 to 10. That's all the whole range is. Everybody, even just being human, you're a 6. So unless it's your aunt, that might be a 5, bro. I don't know. I don't know if the family level can go past 5. Onward. Let's hear more. Sorry, brother.
It was a fun weekend. We saw like an art gallery and stuff like that. And this is I've kind of known her over the internet for a little bit, and
listen to that term. I've never heard that exact term, but I've kind of known her over the internet. It's interesting how we like to us, that's like getting to know somebody. It's just, that's what's normal today. Okay, so you met this girl over the internet. You guys got an Airbnb in the greater Los Angeles area. You had a little bit of that knock, you know. She copped a little bit of your hitter. Let's hear more.
We finally met up and, you know, went out, did our thing, came back to the Airbnb. Anyways, we're kind of dirty, so we go in the shower. I go in the shower. She comes in there. You know, she gets on top of me, and we're doing sex that way.
Oh, y'all doing sex in that water time, dude. That's that humid air. That's that humid sex, you know. And I don't know how people have sex in a pool. Anytime I see people have sex in a pool, I'm like, that's not realistic. But I like hearing this activity. Let me hear more. Hell, I'm sprung up a little. Let's go.
The water's running. We get bored of that position. Flip over, and as I'm standing up the shower, the water's hitting my back in such a way where it's running down the back through my ass and off of my balls, and kind of looks like it's peeing on her.
Okay, so you got the water running down your back through your bottom crack, through your crevasse, and off of your balls and kind of going on to her. That's that Cincinnati baptism right there, boy. You know that, dude. That's that Andy Dalton. Onward.
And she begins to open her legs and ask me to piss in her.
Okay, and he said, ask me to urinate in her. You know, that's that old giving her that magic dragon. Let's hear a little bit more. Wow.
I was kind of lost for words and kind of chuckled it off. And I was like, oh, you're funny. You're silly. You know.
You're silly. She's not a juggler, bruh. You know what I'm saying? She ain't putting stickers on your neck, you know? You know, she's not like she's not silly. She's not trying to tickle you. That ain't a riddle, bro. That's straight up urine, dude. That's grade A urine. You know, that's body wine. You know, that's that bladder Cabernet, bro. And she trying to freaking catch some of that off of you. Let's hear a little bit more.
You know, we did our thing, but I don't know if I should keep talking to the girl after that. And mind you, this is our first sexual experience together.
Wow. First sexual experience is that? Well, it depends on what you want, man. If you want to get to the far lengths of it all, then you might want to go on further with her, you know? But if you want to tone it back and just have something a little bit more comfortable, you know, then maybe that's not the girl for you. But if you want to get into the dark arts, because look, here's the thing, man. Edgar Allan Poe, all right? He was a dark artist, you know? And sometimes you got to get in, you can get into them. But I'm just saying, the more you wade into the dark arts, and that darkness gets more and more higher on your body, then it's going to cover you up. And that's when you're subdued, brother. And that's when you'll fall victim to anything. You know, next thing you know, you're out there, you know, talking to family members on the side, you know, texting family members late at night about sensuality. You know, like that wild nephew out the gate. You know, next thing you know, you're out there at night, you know, looking in the distance, you know, watching, you know, animals be wild to each other on the internets and things like that, you know. You drawing pictures of animal cocks on your fucking own driveway with in your own garage door, you know, with lipstick and shit like that, and being in the darks. So I'm just saying, you monitor it, man, because only you know how dark you're getting until the cops show up, you know, or until your ISP shows up on a hit list or something, you know, on one of those you know, stranger danger websites or something. It's all fun and games to that, you know. That's like Louis, man. Louis C.K. It's all fun and games for him until he gets caught up, you know. And then he's having to, he's having to hire magicians and jerk off in their hats or whatever he was doing, you know. And the next thing you know, he ends up on a sex offender website, registry or whatever it is. I think registries are for weddings, but all right, let's hear a little bit more. Here we go.
Yo, Theo, it's your boy Princey up here in British Columbia, Canada.
Princey up there from BC. And BC in America is a headache powder, Princey. But, you know, game recognized game. Let's hear more, Cat Daddy.
On that West Coast. Loving you up here, man. Super awesome hearing you fucking help out some young fellas. I just want to give my 2 cents.
Yep, I appreciate your 2 cents, man. And I don't know what the exchange rate on 2 cents is from here to Canadian, but I will say this, that we're happy that you called, dude. And I want to hear it, and thank you for being on this Dark Arts episode as we roll through these Dark Arts calls. Keep going, Princey.
I've been an alcoholic for a long time, but highly functional. You know, run my own business, do my own thing. Started to fuck with my head a little bit. So what I did, I just slowed down, man. Sometimes you don't have to quit the whole works, right? You just got to slow it down, and it helped a lot for me, man. And I just wanted to let everyone know, you know what I mean? Sometimes you don't have to end that problem. You just got to put a halt on it, you know? Mm-hmm. Keep doing what you do, dude. Theo.
Thanks, Princey. I appreciate it. And he's right. Sometimes you don't have to quit the whole works. Sometimes you just need to put a halt on it. You know, sometimes you got to slow it down. Sometimes you got to apply the brakes. But I think most of what we're talking about here and being about, and I think you're even saying it too, Princey, is just about recognition, about taking a look at what's going on, you know, about sharing with one another and letting that darkness out of our lives, you know? Whether you got a man that's addicted to baguettes out there on them baked goods, on that food addiction, or whether you got some fella that's just urinating in strange women in Airbnbs, you know? Whether you got some fella that's trying to, put a dick dip into the jaw of his aunt, you know, or whether you got somebody that's, you know, out there, I don't know, doing whatever. You know, everybody have a dark art. And sometimes it's an addiction, and sometimes it's an affliction. But what it is about recognizing it, and also recognizing that we're not alone. And I appreciate you calling in, Princey. And he's an alcoholic, but he slowed it down. And for now, and maybe always, he feels like he has it under control. And I appreciate you sharing that. Let's hear more. Another dark artist on this special dark art episode as we get ready for turkey time. That cranberry dressing. Ooh, that cranberry dressing.
Hey, Theo, what's up? It's Josh out here in Charlotte. You were talking about...
Josh over there in Charlotte. And I'll tell you this, Josh. I was in Charlotte one time, and I've been there for maybe 19 minutes at my hotel down there downtown. And the McCormick and Schmick's is down there across the street, and that's a steakhouse meat establishment. So I walked over there, you know. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get me a little hitter out here, right? I'm going to get me a little ribeye or some kind of outside hitter. And I'm going to sit on the porch and catch that food, get me a giblet, fill up, you know, get my gibbles burnt. So I order something, I'm sitting there, and I see a black gentleman go by with a baby carriage, and the man have on a nice hat. And I'm thinking, you know, where I'm from, if you saw a black dude with a baby carriage, he usually selling something. You know, he's selling toasters or something like that. But then I look closer, I'm like, damn, this dude, the snazziest looking man I've ever seen, pushing a very, very attractive baby carriage. And it was Mr. Cameron Newton, pushing his newborn son. Alizé, I think is the baby's name. But he was pushing his son around. So pretty cool to see, man. And I'd been in that town maybe 19 minutes from Charlotte. But let's hear more. Thank you for calling.
People calling in doing the dark arts, and it made me think of about a year ago, I slept with one of my best friend's mom, and she's married.
Wow. Let's hear more. He slept with his best friend's mother. Let's hear more.
I felt really bad about that, like for two different ways, because I slept with a married woman and it's my best friend's mom.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I appreciate you calling and sharing that. And let's hear more, man. Let's finish it up.
But then I did it again, and I felt even worse. But I don't know. I think that's pretty dark arty.
Dude, that's dark art. Bro, you might be Dark Arthur. Dude, you might be Sir Dark Arts a lot. Kick them nasty darkness. Baby got arts. You know? Dude, that's wild, man. You slept with your best friend's mother. Felt bad about it. And did it again. And you know what? I think that's a perfect example. It's almost a definition of what it is to be caught up in them DAs. You know? To be caught in the deep end of your own emptiness. When that's what we doing. Because everybody have a best friend that had that hot mama. You know? And everybody thinking they're wishing that she'd come by and throw a little bit of leg, you know? Drop a little limb up in you, you know? Drop a little bit of limb up on your swim, you know? That she'd let you take your limb for a swim, if you know what I mean. But that's wild, man, that you were like that. Damn. And you know what? Honestly, dude, part of me got me thinking, man, she probably fine, bruh. I mean, I remember that one of the first women I was ever attracted to was one of my friend's mothers. Hell, dude, I remember this. My best friend, the first time I ever saw some real cooter, real life American cooter, I was at my best friend's house, and his mother was a vacuum addict. She would vacuum forever. And she was walking down the hall. She kept her place spotless, had a spotless home, you know? I mean, hell, if I was sleeping over there, she'd make the bed with me in it. That was just the way she liked to do life. And I remember she was walking down the hall. She had on a T-shirt. And she bent over to pick something up. And, man, she hadn't had a thing on that shirt, boy. It was shirts only at their house that day, I guess, because dang. You know what I'm saying? Suddenly I was on crotch watch, and I didn't expect it. And that was wild, man. And then I remember sometimes, fantasizing about my buddy's mother, dude. One of my friends, I remember being over at his house one time and, nabbing a couple pairs of his mother's underwear, bruh. Damn. Y'all got me thinking about my own afflictions, But I never made love to a friend of mine's mother, And that's wild, bro. But I appreciate you sharing that. Let's hear more.
I don't know if you've ever had something like that happen to you, or you ever done something like that. Sometimes my crotch just thinks for itself, but I don't know.
Yeah, man, that's what it is. I think that's what it is. That's that affliction within us. That's our brokenness. That's something in us that make us do that. And sometimes it could be at a certain age. It can just be, that's your nature. When you got the toils of humanity and of young lust bubbling up in you. I mean, dude, I remember when I was young, my dick would be awake for an hour before I ever was. I mean, that thing was all about that spout. And I remember, I distinctly remember. First woman ever attracted to a buddy of mine's mother. I used to think about her erotically, and be doing erections and stuff to her. Not to her physically, but in my imagination a little bit, or to, be thinking about her. One time I saw, she had a pair of underpants, and she'd had them in the shower, and I took them things, man, and kept them. And I used to wear them around my neck sometimes at night while I slept. And that's dark, really. That's the dark arts, maybe, man. And some of that's growing up. Some of that's coming into your own, skin. When you laying in bed at night with your buddy's mother's underpants around your neck, and you being naughty like that, like a naughty cat. God dang, man, we are defunct. We are defunct as humans. I appreciate you calling, man. I think. I don't even know if I would tell my friend about that. I think that's one of those things. Because here's when you tell somebody about something. If it's going to hurt them, you don't tell them. And I don't know if your friend knows or not, but I don't know if I let my friend know that. But damn, boy, you was out there getting some cut up. That's wild, boy. And that's wild, and that's real talk. And that's a real boy out there doing that. Let's hear a little bit more.
Hey, this is Steven from Atlanta, Georgia. Let me see. Yeah, so my dark arts, you're talking about dark arts.
Yep, we are, Steven. Thank you for calling from Atlanta, Georgia. That's Peachtree. That's Peach City. The Peach City, Peach area. Let's hear more.
And purging those before the holidays. I like that idea. Mine is actually being a workaholic. So my family will be, gathered around the table at Thanksgiving, like praying before the meal. And then we eat and just kind of hang out. My brother plays guitar. But yeah, I have a hard time during the holidays. I'm getting nervous right now.
Hey, that's okay about getting nervous, man. Sometimes, when you call this hotline, if it's a weird call or something, I want everybody to know that. If you give a call and it's weird or it's awkward, I'm just going to pass it by, So, you could mess up 5 times, I just want you to call and get your thoughts comfortably out. And I appreciate you calling, brother. Let's hear more about, you're feeling like a workaholic.
Cause it's important to me. I feel kind of disconnected from my family. And I feel like my workaholism is kind of like an anxious thing where it's like I can't slow down and appreciate my family there.
Yeah, man, it sounds like you have trouble being in the moment. Because you want to do the next thing. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Because you can't sit by yourself. Something in you want to go. That's discomfort. That's just a built-in discomfort. And some of that is just mindfulness, man. You keep wanting to escape the moment. That's what it sounds like to me. I can relate to this fully and personally. Let's hear more.
When they're all there with me, it's like in my head, I'm out in the yard raking leaves or just doing some type of task. It's like I'm so task-oriented and detail-oriented, which is good for projects, but when it comes to just the simple things in life, having a conversation, it's like I can't do it.
Man, I can really, really relate to this, dude. I always had to do something else. Whatever needed to be going on that involved like people or it could be just a conversation. I couldn't even listen. I would have to pretend like I was listening. Because my brain would be like, let's go, let's talk to that girl, or let's go, maybe bum a cigarette, or let's go get a drink, get somebody a drink, or you got to go home, or anything other than a moment, a real moment. Because then I get to the next thing, I want to go do something else, Oh, let's go talk to this girl. Oh, now this girl that I've always liked likes me, but oh, guess what? I'm halfway through a conversation where she's interested, and then I got to go talk to somebody else. Now I got to go do this, or got to get out, and it just always had to do something else. I got to go, I'd be at the best party and be like, damn, I start texting people, dude, where's the party? Even though I'm at the party. It's just feeling uncomfortable, not being able to stay in an actual moment. And I do that too, and I know you're talking about it more on a personal level with family, like you're having a relaxed moment and you can't stay there. And some of that's just about comfortability, and mindful, just being in the moment that you're in, not being in the past, not being in that next moment. Nothing has to be done. Let's hear more.
And I just kind of withdraw, So yeah, I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest. I love the show, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, man. I'm going to stay in California for my Thanksgiving, so I won't get to see my family. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, but I will be spending time with some friends and some people that I care about, so I'm excited about that. But I want to think about this a little bit more, man. I think, just the idea of having to escape the moment when moments are real. And I do that a lot, man. Even if I'm spending time with a young lady or something that I care about, I'll, if I'm just sitting in a moment, I'll be like, oh, is that, say I'm sitting at home on my couch, with a girl that I care about, a girl I like. And the second things get a little bit, we're talking I'll be like, oh, is it too hot in here? Is it too cold in here? I got to adjust the air conditioner. I have to, adjust the lighting, or let's watch a movie, just something, when there's actual like real intimacy, when there's a real moment, I can't stay there. I have to do something. And that's a dark art, man. And eventually for me, that dark art, it became, I had to just keep doing something until I was doing, something bad to myself, until I was doing a drug, or, until I was doing, cocaine by myself at home. And I'm not saying that, dude, I'm making it sound like that's where you're going to end up. That's not it at all. But for me, that's where my uncomfortability to be able to accept a moment, it led me to that. I mean, obviously, now I'm not doing that. Now I'm on that sober train. I'm coming in almost maybe a year and a half now. But for a while, that's where it led me, man. When I couldn't be in the moment, there was something uncomfortable. And I think one of the ways that I would learn to solve that would be just stay. Take a couple of deep breaths and just stay in the moment. It's the same thing when I get caught up, like I want to go, do masturbation or smoke a cigarette, those types of things. When I want to go do something, I want to do something, I want to do something that demeans myself or that'll bring me shame. I want to do something that I don't need to do. Instead, take a couple breaths, and usually I'm fine. Man, I bet if you could develop, brother, a little bit of a system of like, okay, I'm just going to take 3 or 4 breaths. It don't have to be big, crazy breaths where everybody's like, damn, that motherfucker's really, he's over there. He's, with Hufflepuff, He ain't in Gryffindor no more. That dude's lunging up over there. He getting his jollies off on that oxygen, on that O2. You don't have to be taking huge breaths or puffing like a tired panther. But what I'm saying is that you can just take a couple of breaths. And sometimes that stuff will pass, man. And that's what meditation and stuff, that kind of stuff can help. But I noticed that the happiest people are the ones that can stay in a moment. They can just stay there. They don't have to leave. And it will get easier. I noticed it with my own mother, man. I used to have a problem hugging my mother. I could hug her, but it never felt really real. And my whole life it never really has. But there was one time I was at my sister's house and my mom gave me a hug, or I gave my mom a hug, and I just kept hugging her. And it was so awkward. Neither one of us had ever done that. And we just stayed in this hug for like about 30 seconds. And slowly, some of the whatever little barriers that had been there, they kind of fell a little. And it's still kind of uncomfortable when I hug my mother, but it's not as bad, as uncomfortable as it used to be. But yeah, man, just try and work through that. Try and stay in the moment. You recognize it, and that's huge, bro. And I wish you the best, and I appreciate you calling on that. Let's hear another dark art call. We're going to get through these. We're almost done.
Theo, what's up? It's Josh. Calling from Houston.
Hey, Josh, thank you for calling. Houston, World Series champs. Onward.
Oh, just sitting here watching your podcast, man. Honestly, man, I'm a little concerned about you,
Okay. I hear you concerned, Joshua?
You say, you haven't been busting out lately. You haven't been rubbing it out.
Well, I don't know when you heard that podcast, but man, I'll be lying if I said I didn't afflict myself with the with the old devil's with the old devil's grip in the past few days. Onward.
And a little worried about you. A couple years ago, I wasn't busting out enough. Wasn't busting that almond, busting that pecan, and started getting backed up. The old prostate started getting too big, too much fluid in there, not getting it out, and started having problems. So I went to a urologist, and I was having trouble peeing, kind of sprinkling out, not a good heavy flow, and started having issues. Urologist said, need to be busting out once a day minimum. You can't let that thing get backed up, man. You can't deny your biology.
Look, I appreciate this call, man. I feel you, I don't think there's a problem with masturbation. And there's two schools of thought on that, Some urologists will say, yeah, you need to take care of yourself. And some will say, no, you don't need to. That overdoing it isn't good for you. That a lot of things can happen that aren't really helpful. You can have lower, you can have more depression, you can be more or less stressed out. There's different schools of thought on it. But, yeah, look, if people want to drop that almond, dude, people want to freaking pop that cashew out, do that thing. Catch that nut, I'm not saying that it's bad for everybody, but I'm saying if the affliction happens or it becomes an addiction and you're using it as an escape, then I don't think that it's that healthy. And I've said that before, and I'll say that again, that I don't care if you're jerking off outside of a bus window, because everybody used to do that when I was growing up. But if you're doing it repeatedly and you feeling shame about it, then there's some kind of disconnect. Let's hear a little bit more.
Hey, Theo, what's going on, big brother? I've been watching you since the Road Rules days when I was a young pup. But I just wanted to say thank you for the show, man. I recently started listening, and it's fantastic. You make me laugh. You make me think. Keep up the good work. And thank you again.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. And you're welcome, dude. I'm just trying to be of service here and be just a little bit of a conduit, and so we can make this thing even, just make it so everybody can get involved and a place where we can share, And I know I'm not doing that much sharing tonight personally from the heart. I'm trying to. And I know this is a bad excuse, but it's just late. It's late for me. I should have gotten this earlier today. But to be honest, man, I didn't fucking really. I should have done more this weekend, And I didn't, dude. I slept a lot. I felt down about myself. I ended up spraying out. I just didn't take care of myself as good as I should have. And then next thing you know, it was Sunday. And thankfully today I got it together. And I think I think having you guys to do this for and with, kind of helps me get it together. Because if not, maybe I'd have just rolled through another night, just not taking good care of myself. But instead, of laying around feeling shameful because I didn't, because I was doing things I didn't want to be doing. Instead, I'm talking with you guys, and we're sharing our dark arts, and we're working through them together. So you're welcome, brother. I appreciate that. We got a couple more calls here. I'm rolling right through them, man, and these are some good ones. Here we go.
Hey, Theo. This is John from Maine.
Hey, John from Maine. I went to Maine one time. One of my best friends' aunt lived up there, and we went up there, and I fell in love with a girl up there, and and it was nice. And I remember I had a cool hat. We found a neat hat up there, and it was fun, man, and it was beautiful, and it was the first time that I felt like I was in another world, even though I was still in America. And we had a nice time. A lot of whites up there too. Onward.
I just watched your podcast, the Thursday one, and towards the end there you were talking about, the fear of men in this time and whatnot. So this is a bit of a personal experience. I ended up getting in a spot of trouble with our local authorities due to the revenge porn law.
Okay, so you got in a spot of trouble due to the revenge porn law. Wow, yeah, I know that. I've heard that before. If you use or post pornographic type stuff of, I guess, someone that you are not in or at all, then it can cause an issue. But let's hear more. Onward.
At the time, I was myself consumed with the dark arts and kind of viewed it as a prank, put a picture of some girl's tits on the internet, whatever.
Internet tits, yes, seen those, some of them. Onward.
But, they had me all over the local news. This is small town bullshit, so you know how people are. Everybody was fucking making it out like I was some kind of pedophile and shit. And, to be honest, the girl's a year older than me, and I'm 28, so...
Okay, the girl was a year older than you, and you're 28, so, yeah, but the small town can make you out to be a pedophile for anything, I mean, I remember one time I went to see my girlfriend, and I had to stole a child's bike one time to get over to her place, because I didn't have a vehicle, because I was young. And so I stole a child's bike, a young girl. So I'm riding this little children's bicycle, and they, next thing you know, I go to my ladies, I come back, they bust me. They got the cops seeing all this lipstick and everything, and a little bit of like, some vanilla lotion and stuff on my neck. And he's asking what's up, and I'm telling him about my girlfriend. And then he see me on this, he said I got this children's bike, and they was asking me if I was in being naughty with children and pedophiles type of stuff. And no, I was not. So yeah, sometimes small towns, man, they will connect the dots even when there isn't. Even when those dots should never know each other. Let's hear more.
Whatever. I felt like shit. But, after that I went through some shit. And I'm not much of a religious person, but my friend's mom was like, yeah, we're in the time of revelations where everyone's dark arts is going to start getting revealed. So I just think it's kind of odd that she said that, and then all this shit starts coming out of these Hollywood types. But, I'm not much of a Christian. I kind of got my own belief system going. But yeah, man, I just had to shed away the dark side. I'm a much better person for it, and I don't hate myself for the mistakes I've made.
Wow, I love that last statement there. I don't hate myself for the mistakes that I've made. And that's really, that's huge, because for a lot of my life, I think I've carried, shame and disgust of myself, even when I didn't know that I did, even when I didn't know that I was doing that. And I think I still do, carry a lot of shame. And those are things that I'm working through, some of the programs and things that I'm involved with, and working with a sponsor and stuff like that to try and get myself in a better way. So I'm operating at full bore because I know that my higher power has put a lot of gifts inside of me. And I know that he's put a lot of gifts inside of you, and we do get caught up in all this bullshit out here. And we get roped in and we get caught in these nets and in these uncertainties. And we're, a lot of us were wired poorly as a child. We didn't have the affection or the care or the safe environment to express ourselves. And so we're still fighting through a lot of that, And a lot of it is that is our dark arts. We're still fighting through a lot of that or feeling some of that or, we're just have this reverb of uncomfort inside of us that makes us behave certain ways. And we try to get through that. And we get through that together, man. We get through that by sharing, by telling people what's going on. And to get to a place one day where we don't feel bad about the choices that we've made. Because if we're not living in the past with regret or carrying an invisible but tangible regret around on our shoulders or in our cells or in our neck or in our system or in our spine or in our nerves, and then we can really, really be free, And I think that that's a nice goal. And I'm sorry you had to go through that, man, but it sounds like you're in a better place now, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Because we've all done things, man. We've all done things, and sometimes we got to get there. Sometimes we got to get at the bottom so we can see where the ladder's at. And it sounded like you just had had a dip, but now you're back, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Let's hear a little bit more, man. We got one more call, and then we had a brief message that came in, and I'm going to read that, and then we're going to settle up. Here we go.
Hey, buddy. It's Jason calling from California.
Hey, Jason from California. Let's hear a little bit more.
Hey, you asked for us to call in and talk to you about the dark arts, and that's something that I talk about all the time. I work as a coach and as a trainer for about 40 people full-time. And what I've come to realize is that, when we were born as little kids, we were given a name, we were given an ego. And I think that's kind of what the original sin is that as we start to perceive ourselves to be these separate people, there is an inherent pain that comes from that, because it's not true.
Okay, so what he's saying is that when you're born, you're given a name. You're given you're given a name. You're given, and an ego is created with that name, because you start to develop a sense of yourself, outside of everyone. It's not like, hey, now you're part of everyone. It's like, hey, now you're Larry, onward.
We know, we've heard that spiritual saying that we are all one, we are all connected, and believing that we are separate people is the opposite thought of that. And so inherently it's a false thought. And so there's a pain that comes with believing that you are the separate person. And I think the dark arts is how each of us deals with our pain. And some people use drugs, some use alcohol, some people become assholes and they use power. But I think every single person eventually finds a way to deal with their pain.
Wow. What a captivating idea, man. What a great concept. That the fact that we are raised and we are established as a self instead of as part of something bigger than ourselves, that is an affliction, and that we are fighting that and the discomfort of not being part of something, of the whole thing, part of a whole. And that is our dark art. Let's hear more.
Eventually finds a way to deal with their pain. They have to survive. And that is what our addictions are for almost all of us. And so that's why the path of salvation is usually God, because as we come to understand God, we come to understand that personal peace and personal pleasure and personal joy is actually at its highest when we are serving the whole organism, when we are serving the one. And so it's being unselfish that actually serves the self.
Wow. And I know you're hearing the word God there a lot, and that sometimes you hear that word, it turns some people off. But let me tell you this, it can mean higher power. It can just mean something outside of you. That's what it can mean, man. And I strongly believe that. I believe you have got to have some higher power. You've got to. You know, I'm not saying you're wrong if you don't. Well, here's what I'm saying. For me, it helps to not be out here alone it helps, because eventually the more I believe that, the less I feel like I'm by myself. And that's a nice way to not feel. That's a nice way. It's a nice way to feel, to feel not alone, because that's all we all want. We all want to be, loved. We all want to be accepted. That's all we all want. And by having a higher power, you always have some feeling of acceptance inside of you and some feeling of love inside of you. And that doesn't need to be, you can call that God, you can call that, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be of a specific denomination, but you hear me. Onward.
And so I think that's why we're all so fucked up, is we're living this opposite belief of what is true. We think that by serving ourselves, we will serve ourselves. But really, by serving ourselves, we fuck ourselves over and we cause ourselves to need to use our addictions.
Wow. So if we were all to serve each other, that we would feel full. Man, I believe that is the recipe, That is the recipe to get out that. Because, man, I'll tell you this, dude. When you wake up, if you're to go do something for somebody else, and by the end of the day, you're going to lay down and you'll be like, what are you going to feel? Bad? No, you fucking did something for somebody else all day. You're going to feel good. And they're going to feel loved. And you're going to feel a sense of gratitude to yourself for being a decent human. Yeah, you're not going to feel probably good for being a good person. You're going to feel good for being a good human. Part of the bigger whole. That's interesting, man. That was a great call. I appreciate that call. I really do. We have one more email that came in, and I wanted to just read a little bit of that. And this is from a 405 number. It says, I changed my life. It says, your podcast helped me enjoy my life. It says, you talk about overcoming the dark arts. I think the dark arts live within every one of us. We waste our time on social media, gossip constantly, and hardly help others because of the self-centered, self-serving nature of this good old U.S. of A. I would include most modernized countries in that category as well, but I wanted to say good old U.S. of A. My point is that every day you wake up in the morning is an opportunity to live a better life than you have previously been living. You don't change by reading books, by watching documentaries, or talking philosophy with people. You change by taking action. You change when you make changes in your habits. It is that simple, and it is that hard. And that's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful statement right there, and I appreciate that, I appreciate that. It's about taking action. You cannot think your way into positive action, but you can act your way into positive thinking. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And someone said it to me one time. So if you got a dark art that's a real affliction out there, I know we've covered some in this that were fun and some that were not. But if you got a dark art that was a real affliction out there, something that's just fucking just nipping at you and you can't shake it, just take that next step and make it an action. A step is an action. It's not a thought. Take that next step. Take that next positive action. Take action. Do something. Move. Act on that dark art. Strike a match. Lighten that dark art up. If you're being naughty with your friend's mother or being naughty with your aunt, just recognize at least what's going on in your life. Make it, as long as you're not as long as you're not addicted to it, know that you're in control of what's going on with you. And if you feel out of control, then take some control, man. Be a control cat. Be a that's a control cat. Be a control cat. Because you deserve it. Stay busy. Serve yourself. We got out here. We got out here and we did some things, We shared. We listened, And we got the holidays to be grateful. Fill your belly, but also fill your heart. Fill your heart with a little bit of love for yourself. Make sure you put 2 helpings of that on your plate. This is a time to be grateful. Don't get caught up. The dark arts, we've talked about them now. We can get into them again later, but for now we're going to be grateful. Be grateful you're alive. Be grateful you have family around. Spend time with them. You hate them? I don't give a fuck. Handcuff yourself to your nasty uncle. Spend time with them. They hate you? I don't give a double fuckable. They hate you? I don't give a double fuck. Double handcuff yourself to somebody who hates you. You know, hit them with that love, boy. Cop them with that hitter. Beat them with that aorta. Hit them with your heart. Show them what's up. Show them who's boss. Man, I might do something on Thanksgiving and put that out. I don't know. You know, it's going to be a week to relax. And sometimes I want to relax. You know, I may do something and put it up on the Patreon page. I don't know. I think I definitely owe some gratitude to my Patreoners. And I owe it to all of you guys. And I'm sorry I'm not trying to single them out. But I want to thank all you guys for all your love and support, for making this podcast cool, for keeping us going, for keeping me inspired. You lift me up in so many ways and make me feel a part of something cool. And you guys come out on the road and I get to see and meet a lot of the people that listen to the podcast, the call-ins, make me feel that I'm not alone in some of the shit that I'm going through. And tonight I could have just laid here again, you know, and not taken care of myself and not been a part of something. But instead, here I am. You know, here I am for an hour and 25 minutes. And we've been doing something. An hour and 34. It's going to be the longest one ever. I promise we will not go this long again. This has been this past weekend. Happy Thanksgiving week to you. Love somebody. Love yourself. Let it go, man. If there's something on you, let it go. Pray for your enemies. You hate somebody, pray for them. Boy, dang. You want to get somebody back? Pray for them. And that will take the hate right out of your system, I promise you. All right? Be good or be good at it. You can sleep pole to pole or hole to hole, but you can't sleep pole to hole. That's what they told me. Take care, brush your hair. Be good to yourself because you probably deserve it. Let's celebrate living with Spencer Jacob Growl. Thank you. Here we go.
Celebrate living, celebrate misery. You know that soon we're gonna die.
I'm about to go get a Snicker at the front desk.
Let's have some fun while we all die.
Take care of yourselves, you know?
Celebrate dark days, celebrate all your pain.
Love you, creeps.